Welcome back to the Orange Bumper Podcast. We've got two great guests today. Sitting over here on my left is George Phillips. He is a uh, numerous time over champion in many disciplines of racing. Currently racing on the ASA Tour, uh, doing very well. And with him is Brian Crammer, commonly known as Pockets in the pit area and in NASCAR circles. And Pockets is kind of a driver coach as well as spotter slash jack of all trades for all things George Phillips. So we got some really cool stuff to talk about. George is involved with some really great things, and can't wait for you all to learn about George and what it takes to be successful in racing in this day and age. So, George, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for having me.
absolutely. Pockets, welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Appreciate it.
So, Georgia, I wanted to start with you. You're 16 years old. You're part of the TRD racing family,
Yes, sir.
and when we were talking the other day, I asked you, hey, can you tell me about some of your wins? And I was amazed. You listed every single one of them without hesitation, and I figured, handful of wins. No, 54,
54.
and this includes 21 in quarter midgets,
Yes, sir.
two-time North Carolina state champion, three in a bandolero,
That's right.
21 in legends,
That's right.
to include the 2023 Summer Shootout Championship. Pro late models, you had 10 wins, six in your first year,
Yes, sir.
and the championship.
That's right.
And now you're running supers.
Yes.
So when will you own NASCAR?
Well,
it looks like you're on your way.
we're trying our best. We've been working really hard, and I feel like I'm with great people and a great program with Toyota, and I feel like we're gonna do the best we can to get there.
So tell me what a day in the life of George Phillips is like, as far as like your everyday race prep, and having the TRD facilities, and so walk me through a day in the life of George Phillips.
Well,
Not a race day, just a Tuesday.
just a Tuesday. Okay, so like I wake up every morning at about like 5:30, and then eat breakfast, talk with my mom a little bit, and then I leave at about 6 o'clock to go to the Toyota Performance Center. And my workout starts at 7. So I have to drive 40 minutes from Charlotte all the way to Mooresville, and then I work out for about an hour. And after I work out, I usually go on about a 4-mile run in the streets of Mooresville.
Just a little jog.
Yeah,
Just a little jog. Yeah.
or run a little bit. And then I come back home and do school. I'm at homeschooled, so
Okay.
I have some tutors that come
Right.
and just spend the rest of the day with my family or doing some iRacing and doing all that.
How much time do you spend on the sim with Toyota? Is that a lot of time?
Yeah, so actually they have a really cool place in Salisbury. So I go over there a lot and run on their big sim, and it's really cool. I've been running road course, oval, different cars, different tracks. It's really cool.
So who else is on, I guess, the TRD team, for lack of a better term, with you? Who all's in that group?
Like driver
Drivers,
wise.
yeah.
Brent Cruz, Gavin Bushell, Cole Butcher and Gavin are both teammates. Weston, Workman, Jackson Bell, Cannon McIntosh, a lot of good Toyota drivers.
Yeah, y'all got a stocked stable,
We
to say the
do.
least.
Don't forget your other teammate.
Jade Avedizian.
Okay, all right. And so one of the things that impressed me, especially coming from a 16-year-old, on top of the fact that you run 4 miles almost every day, um, is how much of a historian you are of NASCAR.
Yes, I love old school NASCAR. It's like I love to learn about the history. Cuz I feel like not a lot of people appreciate that now. So I feel like I kind of want to be the guy who really appreciates the history and really likes to learn about other drivers, certain old team owners, old drivers, old everything.
I think you told me that Curtis Turner was one of your biggest heroes.
Absolutely. He won 360 races. He won a lot of convertible races. He actually won a lot of races at Bowman Gray
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
convertible division.
yep.
I really look up to him. He was one of the best of all time.
Now you have a unique relationship with Humpy Wheeler, and one of the greatest promoters and showmen
Yes.
of all time. And I'm not going to ask you to divulge some of the behind the scenes stories I'm sure y'all have shared back from the day, but that is an awesome resource to have for a young driver, just to learn like where the sport came from
That's
to
right.
help you
That's
as
right.
somebody that's going to be part of where the sport goes. And how often do you talk to Humpy?
I talk to him a lot. Like sometimes I'd either call him on the phone or I'd just go over there and visit with him, and I wouldn't just stay for like 10 minutes. I'd be there for like 3-4 hours. I'd just be talking with him. He has some of the best stories. So when he worked at Firestone, he has a lot of Buddy Baker, Cale Yarbrough stories. They're just awesome stories, and he's like the funnest guy in the world to talk to about racing.
I had an opportunity to meet him when I worked for the Highway Patrol. And of course, we do all the traffic at Charlotte, so I was there twice a year for 25 years. Randomly one day, um, this was when I was a young trooper, and I'm out there. It was the middle of summer. I was directing traffic. I was hot. Our Confederate gray uniform. I was sweating so bad it was black. And car pulls up. The window comes down, and to me, it was just another guy. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Somebody trying to get in.
Yeah, and I looked and I recognized who he was, but none of the other guys knew
Right.
who it was. And he stopped and asked how we were doing. Thanked us for what we were doing, and it was genuine too. It wasn't like, hey, thank you. Hey, thank you. Like it was genuine. He stopped and hung out, and on his way back out, stopped, talked to everybody. And little things like that really show you about somebody's character. And I think that's probably why he was as successful as he was with NASCAR and with the promotions and stuff, is people gravitated to him.
Yes, he's definitely one of NASCAR's biggest icons, and he's done so much for this sport and just so much for people too. He's just been really a big influence on me, and I'm sure he's been a big influence on a lot of other people too.
He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't
Not in the NASCAR Hall
he?
of Fame,
Really?
not yet.
You picked the bone with George there. He's
I
a little
really
upset
want him.
about that.
I really want him in. I think next year. He'll be definitely in the Hall of Fame next year.
I mean, that
He-
doesn't make sense.
He's in 16 Hall of Fames. He told me he's in a box. He's in because he used to be a boxer too.
I did
So
know
he's
that.
he's
I
in a
did know that.
couple boxing Hall of Fames, North Carolina Hall of Fame, and a lot of racing. And he's in the International Motorsports Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame, Motorsports Hall of Fame of America.
Well, when he was still running stuff, um, I remember one race, and this was before they took the grandstands out on the backstretch coming out of 2 at Charlotte. And the entire place was full. And like for us as troopers, we hated it. Yeah, I hated 120,000 people there because that was 120,000 people that I had to get out of there.
That's right.
But from an entertainment standpoint, that meant that there were 120,000 people that loved the show they were getting ready to see. Now, and I'm not throwing shade on um, the Smiths, but all those grandstands are gone. And I think there's probably maybe on a good race 60,000 to go.
Yeah.
But the showmanship of it has
Yeah,
slowed
Humpy
tremendously.
did a lot for the Speedway, especially at Charlotte. Like he'd do like entertainment shows in the infield, like before the race starts. He'd have a couple like school buses in there.
Yeah.
There's a car that jumped off a ramp and like crashed into a bunch of school
Yeah.
buses.
Everybody loves explosions.
Yeah,
he
he was the kind of the first person who would think of something like that because he's got a lot of crazy ideas, but they're also amazing and brilliant ideas.
Well, and outside the box thinkers pretty much almost always find a way to be successful. And he was definitely that.
Yes, he was.
I'm a big fan of Smokey Unick.
Oh,
Like-
I love Smokey Unick.
Like
I love him.
the stories about all the stuff he got away with and his demeanor while doing it, and like I love that stuff. So I share your appreciation for the old school guys.
Right. And I watch when I'm watching YouTube videos of like Smokey Unick, he'd always be smoking on a pipe, and then the guy would ask him a question, and then he'd take like 10 seconds to answer because he'd still be smoking
Yeah.
the pipe.
And you have the shop coveralls on, pulled up about right here.
Yeah.
With a small beaver of chest hair coming out. Just old school, man.
And he actually saved lives. So Curtis Turner flipped the Chevelle in Atlanta in 1967. He probably would have died if it wasn't for Smokey Unick because on the top, like right under the roof, he created an X with 2 bars. And if that X wasn't created, Curtis Turner probably would have lost his life in that wreck.
Roof probably would have caved in on top of him.
Yes.
Wow.
So he actually saved a lot of people's lives, and he's been big influence on safety too.
I literally feel smarter sitting beside you than I did before we sat down.
Imagine
Not
how
saying
I
a
feel
lot.
every day.
Yeah, I mean, not saying a lot. I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box. But so, how'd you get started racing? Because your family didn't race, do they?
No, they do not.
Yeah. So how'd you get started?
Jeff Gordon actually got me into racing. He came over to my
Just Jeff Gordon. Yeah, Jeff Gordon got me started. Yeah, it's just Jeff Gordon.
So he actually came over to my house and he saw me run battery powered cars and he'd watched me take laps around the backyard and he said, "Man, George, you should come out and try a quarter midget." So we got a quarter midget and went out to NC Kume, which is in Salisbury, and we'd run and I'd run until dark and I wanted them to cut the lights on, but they couldn't do that. We'd be out there for hours and days, and that's just I got hooked from then.
I mean, Jeff Gordon. Why not?
That's right.
Now you've got a good relationship with Jimmy Johnson too, don't you?
Yes, I do. My little sister and his daughter are like closest of friends,
Okay.
and Jimmy he's been really supportive of my career, and I really appreciate him a lot.
So if you've got Jimmy Johnson that's with Toyota, but you got Jeff Gordon that's with Chevrolet,
That's right.
and both of them are admirers
That's right.
of yours. So if both of them presented you with a contract opportunity, where do you go?
Well, it's really hard to answer that because they're both NASCAR legends and icons, and they influence me a lot, and they believe in me, so I really love and appreciate those guys so much.
That's a good
It's hard.
That's a good
It's hard to
non-committal
answer that question.
We'll let him
You
play rock, paper, scissors.
have
Yeah.
done a great job coaching him. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Uh, you're a lot of your success when we talked, you attribute to your faith, and I'm interested about how you incorporate your faith into your racing and how it helps you, with the mental aspects that racing and competitiveness and the business side and all these other things. Like, how does that help ground you?
Well, my faith is knowing the Lord is definitely my number one priority. God is number one in my life, and I go to church a lot, go to a youth group, and then go to church every Sunday, and I read my Bible a lot, and I just talk to God, and He guides me through it, and He's number one, and He's the Lord and Savior.
So when you go to the racetrack, and I'm kind of shifting gears here, when you go to the racetrack and you get in the car, you put your helmet on. Who at that point, who are you racing for? Are you racing for your own accomplishments? Are you racing for your family name? Are you racing for, like, what do you race for?
I race to win, but I also race to please the Lord. So, and when I get out of the car, I really want to give him the praise and the credit because I know he's guided me through it, and it wouldn't be possible without him. So I race to please the Lord.
Not your standard answer from a 16-year-old.
He's not your standard 16-year-old.
No, I would agree with that 100%. So first off, where does Pockets come from? How do you get that name?
John Blewett III, a famous racing family, obviously the Blewetts, modified racers. I used to work for their family when I was 13. It was the first job I ever had. They had the junkyard, they're famous for that, and that engine shop. So I was just up there and sweeping the floor and cleaning parts, and that's all they fed me for lunch was ham and cheese Hot Pockets for about 2 months, and I just couldn't handle it. So one day I went down in the junkyard and told John, can't do it no more. Lunchtime, he came up, opened the door, and said, "Yo, Hot Pockets, we're going to lunch." And here we are. That was
That's
that was
awesome.
27 years ago. So kind of stuck, I guess.
That's awesome. So you're from New Jersey originally.
Yes, sir.
And you were tight with the Blewetts. And
Yep.
Of course, you can't be tight with the Blewett family without getting involved in racing,
Yep,
specifically
yep.
modifieds.
Yep.
You were a modified racer and still do race some, don't you?
Well, I haven't raced. I've been racing about 5 or 6 years, but yeah, just being from Jersey, my uncle, he was an engine builder at IROC.
Okay.
IROC was based there, and Ray Everham, and so my uncle was interested in racing, and he raced a little bit when he was younger, and then Wall Stadium's only 5 miles from my house, and they used to have a show called Let's Go Racing. You watched it on Friday nights, and it would recap the races from the week before. It was on like the local TV channel. and they were building a quarter midget track. And my uncle come and told me the next day, they're going to build a quarter midget track. You want to race? Well, 3 days later, I had a quarter midget. So kind of just started from
Right.
there and just, snowballed.
So if you and George both getting a quarter midget, who's winning?
Well, probably him because I'm fat. And he's got about 0% body fat on him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd take him
Yeah.
for sure.
So you're obviously in North Carolina now. What brought you down here? Was it racing? Was it friends? Combination of both?
Yeah, I just I raced, the Smart Tour, the Southern Modified Tour when it was NASCAR, and I just had roots down here. And Ryan Flores, who races at Bowman Gray and Tire Changer, I remember when we were 18, he just looked at me and was like, he was making pizza on the boardwalk, and he was like, try to get down there. And my uncle ended up getting him a job, and rest is history, they say. And I was just really kind of floundering around, spotting for Donnie Lee on the Modified Tour and doing this and doing that, working in the junkyard at Blewitts. And he just said, you're wasting your time. You need to come down here and I'll get your foot in the door. And then I came down and started working at LaJoy's right away. And
Okay. All right.
that's how that goes.
So working with George and a young driver, what kind of challenges do you face? Because it seems like you've been there, done that. You've been around. I don't want to say roughnecks, but modifieds have always kind of had the culture of the outlaws.
Yeah.
But you got a young driver coming up that is faced with a totally different culture around racing. How do you kind of intermingle the two?
Well, yeah, you're right, because it's different, right? There's really no pay to play in the modifieds, right? Like if that's, how you want to consider what, George and all these kids, they don't own the cars. They don't, have to provide transportation. They show up and they race, So that's the biggest difference. But the number one thing is just they got to listen. If they listen, then you can really do some good. But it's a lot of them that don't want to listen.
Yeah, I watch a lot of what Kyle Busch says. I've known Kyle for a long time. We're not like BFFs or anything, but if I call him, he answers, and vice versa. I enjoy what he has to say about the younger generation coming up, and that a lot of them just plow their way to the front. And you see it everywhere you go, whether it's Cup, whether it's Wall Stadium, Bowman Gray, whether it's Irwindale, wherever. How do you teach patience and teach George when to be aggressive and when to just take what it's given you?
That's probably the biggest thing you face, because if George is the better car, I want him to work and learn. He knows how to pass somebody, right? I want him to work. But then if he gets held up for 3 laps, well, I know the kid behind him, he ain't waiting. So then I got to pull the trigger and like, okay, George, like I know we tried, we couldn't do it, but we got to go, or guess what? We're going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a fine line. That's probably the hardest thing, is just nobody respects nobody. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
Well, and if it seems like if you race with respect, you get taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
And that's such a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because people get out of the car and they say, "Well, I race people the way they race me." Well, when the tables are turned, that's not the same answer.
You got to learn to wear both shoes. You
Absolutely.
have to. There's going to be a week where you move the leader and you guys are all high-fiving. Yeah, we won the race. And then the following week, you're going to be leading, get moved, and you're going to want to go fight that guy.
Right. Right.
So where do you draw the line? You got to look at it from both aspects.
No,
or it'll drive you crazy. You'll never be in the sport if you can't do that.
When you're racing, and one of the things that I learned as a spectator, but being involved with Bart and modifieds, is drivers have their own like code. I don't hold a steering wheel. So if another crew guy gets mad at me, I'm not holding the steering wheel, dude. Like, don't get mad at me. But when you get in that position and you're faster, like he was saying, like you're faster than the guy, and he's holding you up, and you're back bumping.
Right. So like when I'm like coming up on a car and he's like leading, if I was running second,
are you sitting there saying, "Man, I really don't want to do this," or are you like, "Hey, man, it's time to go"?
It's time to go.
Right. Okay.
Like I do the best as I can to get around him as quick as I can.
Well, it's a balance too, because like car owners and sponsors, winning pays. You win, everything comes with it. But at the same time, you might win one race because you move somebody, but you might get wrecked 3 races in a row for that, and it's a balance. I mean, and I understand every situation's different, but as a driver, I can't imagine. Do you make that decision based on who it is and how they've raced you in the past, or is it just I'm faster than you?
If I'm faster, I just gotta go.
Right.
But like I do the best I can and get out as front as quick as I can and to just go for the win every time.
So let's say you move the guy in front of you,
Okay.
and then after the race, he's pretty hot. What's the standard practice there?
Well, if I move him in a bad way, yes, I 100% understand if he's mad. But like if I move him like respectfully, I just feel like it's just kind of a racing move. If I move him like in a respectful way.
Do you call or text or whatever if the guy's throwing a fit and you know calling you all kinds of names or whatever?
I don't have
Or
much experience doing that, but yes, if
Well, like think about like New Smyrna, what happened when I brought you over there, right? Things I'm trying to teach you. Like I brought you over Hudson Boulder. They got into it. George
Oh, was
got
that the
into
wreck
it.
on the backstretch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some things were said on TV, not by George or whatever. And I let everything cool down, and he was standing at the back of the trailer, and I said, "Let's go. We're gonna go." I know Brett Reagan, his car owner, David Reagan's brother,
Yeah.
know them very well. I've raced against them forever, and I just brought George over there, and some people were starting to get a little loud or whatever, and I just told everybody, "Listen, this is the problem. Let these kids figure it out.
Absolutely.
Like let you guys go over there, and handle this,
Yeah.
because that's the problem. Nobody does. They just say what they want. Go on the
They're the
internet,
two
do
holding the
this.
steering wheels.
So, well, I also tell people all the time too that if George does something, he can get mad at me because he does pretty much what I tell him to. So,
Well, and
if
but
someone's
your
mad, I
experience.
just tell him, I say, "Hey, guess what? You could be mad at me. Come yell at me." He only
No,
did what I told him.
That makes sense. It's we had the same thing happen on Smart Tour. Um, Ryan Newman and Slate had a run in or something, and Ryan came over and said to Bert, "Hey, I'd like to talk to your son, but I want you there with me."
Yep.
And they went up in the hauler and they had a private conversation. To me, that's the right way to do it. That's a more seasoned driver trying to work with and coach the next generation.
Well, that's why I brought him down there, because
Right,
there's other
exactly.
things than the number one thing. All these kids, every single kid that's coming up has won 900 quarter midget races, 30 Bandolero championships. Every one of them's won and can go fast. It's how you mold them and what they do outside the car, the little things inside the car, the way that's the real process of making it.
So with your trajectory, like where you are right now, and you're running ASA, I guess the next move up would be ARCA or a truck, maybe.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So explain to me how that first race in ARCA or truck, whichever one it is, explain to me the process of what happens. Is that something where you all reach out to car owners? Is that something where the team comes to you all? Is it
That's
a little bit
all?
of both
That's all
sometimes?
Toyota.
Is it?
In
Okay.
his situation, right?
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
all Toyota. So
they take care of that.
they have a
Okay.
process and a plan.
Okay.
So they basically would say, "Hey, listen, George. Okay, it's time for you to," which it used to be Venerini.
Right.
Now that they sold out to Nitro,
Okay.
it would be Nitro and ARCA,
Okay.
Nick Tucker and those guys, and they do a really good job. And they also own the TA2 road course cars.
Oh, okay.
So like when Brent Cruz races, he runs for Nitro. So that's something like George will do coming up here eventually. Hopefully he'll get in some TA2 races. I know for a
Okay.
fact he'll run some micro races at Millbridge through the
Okay.
Toyota program, which
yeah.
had boat in them. So they have everything kind of laid out, the groundwork. And
It amazes me the amount of organization that Toyota puts into their young drivers.
the short track. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're the number, like if you put them on a scale and said Chevrolet versus them, I'd say Chevrolet has a 10th of driver development and a short track program as Toyota does. Toyota does it the best by far.
What do you want to do? What do you feel like where you are with your experience right now? What do you feel like is the next progression? Like when do you think you're ready to move up? And then how long do you think you need to stay there?
Well, I definitely need a lot more time in the super late model, and hopefully, if I win some super late model races, I can go to the truck series and run a lot of that.
Now you run what, 8 or 9?
Yes,
And then where are you in points right now?
I'm 10th.
Okay.
I'm 10th in points.
Okay. And that's your first year.
Yes, this is my first year.
That's nothing to be ashamed of.
I know.
I mean, nothing at all.
That's right.
His first super race was at Speed Weeks. He hadn't gotten the super until Speed Weeks.
Okay. And New Smyrna is your favorite track, isn't it?
I love New Smyrna.
Yeah.
I've won 3 races there, and I really like that track.
It helps that we win there.
I was gonna say I see why he likes it. You know, if there's a track that you don't qualify well at, and you always seem to end up in somebody else's wreck, it's probably a track you don't like.
That's right.
But that's interesting. I think that with some of the younger guys coming up, does everybody in the Toyota program have a pockets?
Not everyone, but there's a handful of drivers that do.
Are there?
Like William Swallich, he has a guy that's with him all the time, and there's his teammate Gavin. He's got kid Eric Roll that he's with him all the time, and so there's a handful of us, but not everybody has somebody that's with the driver all the time.
Have you ever thought about driving a modified?
I actually never until I really got with him. So I really would actually like to try it out sometime.
And if Bert was here, he would probably tell you be very careful because you'll get hooked. Am I lying?
Oh yeah, no, he was close at. I was real close at Speed Weeks. It wasn't his first time in a super, because J.R. Bertuccio, I grew up with him my whole life. I mean, they bring 3 cars down there, and they'll let his dad's, I consider one of my closest people on the planet. And if I ask him, hey, this kid George, go out and practice, he will, and I was close, and his dad's like, well, what's it going to benefit him? I said, absolutely nothing. Just he gets to say he ran a modified at New Smyrna.
Yeah, I mean,
I said it'd be cool, but and then just kind of the discipline and everything. I just wanted him to focus on, on the late model.
If not for anything else, gas pedal control, like throttle control.
Yeah.
That much power on such a lightweight car,
he'd be hooked. He would. The way he drives and his driving style, he loves it.
Yeah.
Fast, love to go fast, have big grip. And
are you a guy that likes your car really loose or really tight?
I really don't like really tight, but I really don't like really loose. I really want that car to be just as good as it can be.
But we use the terminology. We want to be snug.
Snug.
We don't want to be tight. We don't want to
be tight. We just want to be snug.
Yeah. So, who is your crew chief?
Bobby Foley.
Okay, you and him have a good relationship. I'm
yeah,
assuming?
yeah. He's a really nice guy.
You guys should know Bobby.
He's old. He was a Bowman Gray guy.
He told me he was at the stadium for a while.
His cousin's Jay Foley.
Jay Foley, yeah.
I used to call him Axel Foley, like from the movie Beverly Hills when I raced down here, but Jay Foley.
Baby needs shoes.
Yeah, that's how I used to call him that. We call him Axel Foley. Jamie Tomato used to call him that. It's funny.
So current drivers right now, like any level, who do you feel like you most align with? Like your driving style, your personality, all those things. Who do you think?
Like any driver in any kind of series?
I mean, it's active right now, yeah.
Well, I actually got a really close friend that I feel like have some similarities with this Ross Chastain. He just won the World 600 at Charlotte, and I'm really close with him, and I feel like we have some similarities. And he's just been really good to me, and I really like him as a driver.
He's and Pockets and I were talking about this. He's the blue collar fan favorite.
Yes.
Like I love the fact he's sponsored by
Busch Light, yeah. In his interview, he said, "I like beer."
Yeah, I love that. Me personally, I don't like the cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
I like the guys with personality that can let their personality shine through. I love the fact that he gives such a shout out to the watermelon farmers.
Yes.
And we were talking on the phone, and I remember several years ago, Chastain was running a truck and ran very well, top 3, I think, but he didn't have a contract for the following year. And in the interview, and he was teary-eyed, he was almost crying, and he said something to the extent of, I just need somebody to believe in me. I'm a good race car driver. Now, every race car driver thinks they're the best.
Yes.
Like I've learned that about you guys. That's just a race car driver thing.
I mean, I was the best.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't think you're the best, why should anybody else?
If you, this is actually what David Pearson actually says. If you don't think you're the best out there, you'll never win.
Yeah, I mean that's not wrong.
That's right.
And I like the fact that Chastain said, "I just need somebody to believe in me."
Yes.
And you fast forward, and I like the guys that are aggressive.
Oh, me too.
I tend to look at racing more from a business standpoint. And if I'm a car owner, do I want my driver making that decision? Like you look at Hocevar this past weekend, it's probably split down the middle. Did Stenhouse clear himself? Could Hocevar have given him a break? But if the roles were reversed,
That's one of the things too.
would
It's like
Stenhouse have given him the break? I mean, what if?
Ricky seems to be in a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, you can what if all day. I mean, what if my aunt peed standing up? She'd be my uncle, So, I mean, but I think that the aggressive drivers are more of what people tend to trend to right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think that NASCAR's headed in a good direction?
Yes, I do. But if I get a NASCAR or when I get a NASCAR one day, I kind of want to bring that old school personality back. And I feel like Ross is doing a really good job with that
Yeah,
too.
100%.
Yes.
100%. So if you were the CEO of NASCAR for a week and they said, all right, here you go, make some changes. What if anything, and you can, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You can give the politically correct answer and say, I wouldn't change anything. NASCAR's perfect. Or if there's things you want to change, what would you change?
I would definitely bring back some old tracks, and I feel like actually NASCAR is doing a good job because they all actually brought back Rockingham.
Mm-hmm.
They actually put Bowman Gray and then Wilkesboro. So I would just throw in a couple more old school tracks and have a old school NASCAR old logo from the 50s. I think I could bring that. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I mean,
He wants to go find the junkyard full of 1963.
Right.
That's
cars,
right.
and he put them all in that.
I'd put them all.
That's what he'd be happy with.
I'd put them all together and do all the paint schemes that they had back then, and
you could make it like an IROC.
Yeah.
With
old cars.
I think that would be like a super cool thing for
Oh
me
yeah,
to do.
absolutely. I'm dying to do one of the Crown Vic races like Cletus McFarland does, because my favorite car of all time is a Crown Vic.
Yeah,
best patrol car I ever had. I would love to race one of those things.
Corey LaJoy said he had a ball when he went to the.
I talked to him at the stadium about that.
He said he had a ball.
He said you show up, the car's ready, you get in it, and it's just hair on fire.
Yeah, he almost won.
That's something. If I was CEO of NASCAR, I would try and incorporate a little bit more of the Humpy Wheeler.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I think NASCAR does a great job with pre-race stuff. They give plenty of opportunities for sponsors to be seen on uniforms and interviews and all that. That's all great, but if they're gonna get attendance up, I feel like they need to do a little bit more.
We need more people like Humpy Wheeler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said put a boxing ring at start-finish line. And if two drivers have an issue the week before.
Yeah, I mean, only Humpy Wheeler would think of ideas like that.
Yeah.
And they're the best ideas.
Yeah, and
because it actually attracts more audience and attracts fans because yes, the race is definitely the main priority, but you could also do some fun before that race even starts.
Yeah.
I got to bring George to Bowman. He hasn't been there yet.
I haven't even been to Bowman.
Shut your nasty mouth.
Look, I love racing and I'm from North Carolina, but I've never been to Bowman Gray. Isn't that crazy?
This interview's over. You've got to come.
I'm going to bring him. Don't worry. I'm going to bring him.
Find a Saturday night. Let us know that you're coming.
Okay.
Come up with pockets. And you got to be in the pits, but you also got to be in the stands because it is the greatest people watching spectacle, especially if you can come on ladies' night.
Okay.
Ladies night. $2 ladies' night.
Yeah. Ladies' night is Daisy Dukes, veins everywhere.
George, it's some stuff you've never even seen in public.
Yeah, like it's its own show.
Okay.
It's its own show.
Well, George, we'll stay in the pits.
But but as you will see, there's some really good racing that goes on there.
Oh yes.
Yeah, granted it's a quarter mile. Granted it's around a football field.
It's a little bull ring, and you can go in a corner, move that guy out of the way, and the fans will just go nuts.
Yeah, and the modifieds. I saw somebody on social media this week that keyboard warriors are everywhere, right?
Yes.
And he's saying, I wouldn't pay to go see some car do 50 miles an hour. I go faster getting to the track than they go at the racetrack. I'm sitting there thinking, man, like these modifieds on a quarter mile track, They put on a show.
They did.
If you appreciate racing, they put on a show.
That's
You
that's
raced
who.
at the stadium.
Yeah, I ran
Wheeling
two
Tour.
tour races there. Yep,
Yeah.
two Wheeling Southern races there.
What do you think about racing there compared to like most of your 3/8 and 5/8?
I mean, it was just it's more of it was a spectacle. I mean, it was just it was cool to say that I raced at Bowman. I qualified in the back and finished up front. Everybody wrecked it.
But with the wide tires that Tour runs, you wouldn't think it's that much of a difference, but that takes away a lot of space when you're side by side.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I liked running the Southern Tour, the Smart Tour and the Southern Tour back then in the early to mid 2000s because I felt like all the drivers really did have respect for each other, and there was a lot of good racing back then. I feel
Well,
like.
the Smart Tour has the level of competitiveness that's there right now is top notch. I mean,
Yeah, but they got to get it figured out.
yeah, they do, and I think they are. I mean,
You can't have an hour every time I watch a Smart Tour race. There's an hour long red flag for something.
yeah, and I think that if you're placing blame in the right place, and I agree with you, but like at Franklin County, there was only one wrecker there.
Yeah, but you can't pound your chest and say you got a great series and not have somebody in charge of going to the racetrack.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
being like, hey,
Yeah, I think like an advanced operations
Yeah,
officer or something
absolutely.
goes up there and just has a checklist.
if my buddy Wrecker won, Johnny Denniston, if he still lived down here, he tows for free at New Smyrna every year. You
Mhm.
probably saw the documentary on him on Flow. He rides around my cardboard cutout in his truck. If he still
Epic.
lived down here, he'd do it for free.
Yeah, well, and
I mean, just to go to the racetrack.
the ones at Bowman Gray do it for free because they get. I mean, they've got marketing in front of 17,000 people every Saturday night, free marketing. But I think that as far as the drivers go, with the Smart Tour, now I think it's different than the Northern Tour, and people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think people that don't really understand modified racing understand the difference between the North and the South, and it's just two totally different, things.
Absolutely.
But-
like when I first showed up when I was 16 and Puddin' Swisher went out for practice in a t-shirt. It was a little different than up north.
And cowboy boots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had cowboy boots and a t-shirt on, open face helmet, went
Yeah.
out for practice at Caraway. I was like, that's a little different.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we've got a lot of good young stars coming up. Luke Baldwin's doing
Oh
great
yeah,
things.
I've spotted for Luke a bunch. I've
Uh,
known Luke ever since he was a little kid.
Slate's, learning every race. At the stadium, Riley Neal's a young driver. And then all the way into, ASA, cars. There's a lot of young talent coming up.
Yes, there is.
Is there any, and this is me being uneducated on late models, so I apologize. Why do you not run any of the cars races? I mean, I understand that it's different classes, but
Well,
surely
I
you
feel
would have an
I
opportunity.
feel like ASA stars would be kind of the best way to do my career with, like to move it along. So, and I feel like supers are just super cool, and I feel like it's got a lot of power, and I feel like they'll teach me a lot too.
I agree. I agree with that. When is the next ASA race around here, or is there one?
Ooh, around here. Well, we had Hickory. I think it'll probably be like maybe next year. I think the next race in Hickory will be probably next year.
Yeah, we're doing a bunch of traveling coming up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about our fan base is that we're all over the country.
Yeah.
And I'm going to encourage all of the folks that are loyal to Citrusafe Racing and everything. When you find out that there's an ASA race near you, get your Citrusafe shirt on and go out there and support George. This is where short track racing, you end up watching them on Sundays, is supporting these young guys that are coming up. So just remember that, everybody. And I think do we still have Citrusafe Racing t-shirts at racefangear.com? Yeah, we do. So check out racefangear.com. You get your Citrusafe Racing shirts. You can get your George Phillips shirts, Burt Myers, Slate Myers, all that stuff. That's my cheap plug in the middle of this.
We're working on mine.
Working on yours?
Yeah.
Well, if you got a cardboard cutout riding shotgun,
I
don't know
mean,
that-
I'll be honest with you. That thing became pretty famous for a good
have you-
2 or 3 years. That thing was pretty famous. Jimmy blew it at Speed Weeks one year. I pulled up to the gate and there was one bungee cord to right when you come in the pits, and I was like, and I knew right away it was Jimmy. Jimmy's been doing stuff like that my whole life, and I finally found him, and I was like, just tell me how many.
Right.
He said 5. There was one on the spotter stand when I got up there for the race. He was already up there. Yeah, it's Luke Baldwin and Tommy and them. They got one hanging in their shop. Yeah, he's everywhere.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being famous.
No, George gets along real good with Record One, don't you?
No, I love Ricker
Yeah,
One.
he loves
He's
Johnny.
great.
Yeah.
Have you signed any foreheads yet? Any babies' foreheads?
I've never.
I saw Bert signing a kid's forehead in the pits at Bowman Gray. Again,
Bowman
that's why you
Gray.
need to come Bowman
Okay,
Gray.
yeah, Bowman Gray.
I see that everywhere.
That's right.
Too bad they don't run a K&N race there no more. Or it would be
know.
ARCA now, you know.
I know. Devin and I were talking about that. The last K&N East race that I went to had or that they had there, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, I think Kyle Larson, Corey LaJoy
Oh yeah.
Corey won that race.
Yep.
Blaney.
Oh
William
yeah,
Byron.
it was a big, way different deal back then. That's the first thing I started when I moved down here. Was when I went to work at LaJoy's Austin Hill.
Yeah.
Took over Corey's car, and I worked in the shop with one other person, my buddy Steve-O. And that was the first thing I did down here when I moved here.
That was one of my favorite things in the world, is seeing all these stacker trailers coming in. You know,
And Corey had the
just-
small little fifth
and then-
wheel.
Yeah,
And
and,
it was-
then Corey comes in with I think an open trailer
Yeah.
and a bunch of
wins the race.
gangbusters come out, and then they go out there and they just kick everybody's ass on
Oh
the
yeah,
racetrack.
bunch of kids back then.
Yeah, he's driven one of Bert's cars. I
Yep.
think no, yeah, he did.
He
Was
won a
he right?
modified. He won a modified race for the Hills.
You know,
At Atlanta. Yep.
Yeah. He was leading the field in Bert's car, and like it was bad, like how bad he was
He
beating
was
them.
killing them. We got to get
And then-
George in one. That's what we got to do.
The transmission went out.
You'll drive one, right, George?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he will.
definitely.
I'm telling you, you'll get hooked.
Oh, I definitely will.
The good thing is
I
he
love it.
races so much we won't have time to run one.
Now, who are some of the other drivers that you worked with and spotted with?
A lot of Austin Hill. I was with Riley Herbst for 2 years when they started the deal at Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, Spencer Davis. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on of all the kids I've worked with in the last decade.
Spotting is hard, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done it so much, you probably won't say that, but
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it just flows. It just comes out. When I was doing the 24 hours for Porsche, I remember there was a guy from Germany driving the car, and then he in the slowest class GTD. I mean, they were, two top, two bottom, one middle, one top, one bottom, two, and at the end he was like, he couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? And I was like, he asked me how I did it. I said, I don't know. I just see it, and it just comes out. I don't know.
I've spotted a bit for Slate and Bert and a couple other guys, and I'm not great at it. Don't misunderstand me, but I think I'm not good. Number one, because I don't have the lingo down. Like race car drivers, y'all are left front. Is that right? You refer to as left front.
Yeah.
Highway patrol, we're front left.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah,
So,
that
like,
would.
I'm spotting for
George,
Bert.
you could do that front left.
That'd be
I-
that'd be a first for me.
I'm spotting for Bert at the stadium one night, and there's a wreck in front of him, and I'm like, watch out, go in the median.
Oh my
Down in the
goodness.
grass.
Oh my
And
goodness.
there's just like this silence on the radio, and he's like, Philip, it's the infield. And I was like, yeah, you know what I mean. Hit the grass. But I get really nervous because I'm afraid I'm going to screw up.
Mm.
Even though they're the ones that have the steering wheel in their hand and they can see out the windshield, but I'm always afraid I'm going to contribute to the screw up.
Yeah. Well, imagine being 87 laps down at Talladega in a chase race, spotting for an Australian IndyCar driver 87 laps down with Kevin Harvick pushing him in the fourth lane with about 10 to go, and every spotter up there just screaming at me to get out of the pack. And he said, "I spent good money to drive this car." I don't know. Do you want to talk about?
I don't know
nervous?
that I would have relayed that message.
Yeah, you want to talk about nervous? That's the only time I've ever really been nervous. When I
You
was
want to
spotting.
walk off the spot and stand, not get thrown off of it.
I was close to getting thrown off for sure.
Have you? So a lot of those drivers you were talking about, have you spotted for them since they've been in Cup?
No. So when I did Cup, I spotted for Joey Gase and what was the other kid's name? Garrett Smithley at
Yeah.
Rick Ware.
Yeah. Okay.
Did that for 2 years.
Okay. Now, did you do anything business wise with them?
No,
You just showed up.
just
Spot.
spot. I did truck up in Xfinity for 2 years.
You
Show up to the plane and go.
You ever get mad at him when he's spotting? You ever just be like, "Hey man, can you just shut up for a minute? Let me drive."
There were a couple times, not a lot, but there
You can be honest.
there were a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't mean you dislike him as a person.
No,
It's just, I mean,
He's allowed to yell at me.
Yeah.
Because I yell at him. So, I mean,
So, so going forward, when as he climbs the ranks, I'm assuming you'll stay with him.
that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because George, I worked for a race team, Fathead Racing, Jamie Yelton, and I was with them for 3 years. And they have a super and a pro late model. And George actually drove for us last year.
Okay.
And then me and George I spotted obviously that and driver coached all the kids that ran for us, Jackson Boone and him. And just me and George just developed a relationship. And, when he signed with Toyota, he had to move over to Donnie Wilson where he races now because that's the Toyota funnel.
Okay.
And they offered me, they presented me with an opportunity to stay with George because I guess clearly, George, you like when I spot for you, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I guess he likes to be around me because we're around each other all the time.
Right.
So, and just kind of be there and just help him and, guide him, in the right direction. I've done everything the wrong way, so I know what to tell him not to do.
But that's why you're valuable. I mean, it's like literally that's like being a father. I mean, like with my kids, I know everything I did that I screwed up. And so I do everything I can to try and keep them from making the same mistakes I did.
And that's what I do for him. And his dad, I think his dad sees that. And, his dad's also not the typical kid that the father of a kid that is in the position he's in. A lot of them don't really work, if that makes sense. They have businesses, they have people that work for him.
Right.
His father works tremendously hard and he works all day, every day at his business. And so it's a good asset for it to have me because I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
With
So
George.
so I guess you're like the point of contact for Toyota
Toyota
as far as the racing stuff.
Yeah, they'll
goes.
call me, and then he's also represented by MMI, which is Ross Chastain's management company.
Okay.
So they have Philip Smalley. He's over there. So if Toyota needs something, they'll reach out to me or to Philip.
Okay. All right.
Philip, they reach out to Philip on the business side more. On the racing and at the racetrack stuff, they'll reach out to me.
Okay. So if George, if you're not racing, what would your aspirations be? What do you think you would be really good at for a career?
Not for a career, but I am also really good at cooking.
Really?
Yes.
What do you cook?
I cook chicken, I cook steak, I cook all that.
You ain't never cooked for me.
You never asked me to.
Well, I guess we always had Keith
Yeah.
to cook, so you didn't have to cook at the racetrack.
Well, it's a good thing Citrusafe is one of your sponsors.
That's right. So I could put some on the grill.
That's right.
Put some
Always have a
Citrusafe
clean
on the
grill. 100%.
Oh, well, we always had a clean grill no matter what because of Citrusafe.
Yeah. Well, I just grilled last night. I brought over I've got a Blackstone that's awful, and they're going to get it repaired for me and get it looking new again. But, well, so a chef, you think you would be like a chef?
I think I'd be pretty good.
Okay.
I
What's your specialty? Now, are we talking about like a microwave cook? Or are you like a cook?
Like I could do both.
Well, I mean, I
could
can
do
teach an
both.
orangutan to use a microwave.
Well, I'm glad that you can use the microwave. That's
that's not that hard. I like to cook. I like to cook a lot of chicken though, and I cook some broccoli and some carrots.
Do you work with a nutritionalist?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
I figured.
So I
Toyota sets all that up for them.
Do
Right?
they? Golly, I miss my calling, man. Highway Patrol never had a
That-
nutritionalist
no.
for me. It was just, hey, hit a drive-through, go to the next call.
They do. Toyota does a phenomenal job with just their driver development, and because it's not just the kids. Like he'll be working out, and we'll be we'll have meetings there also. They have conference rooms. We'll have meetings and go over film, and Christopher Bell will walk by and go in the gym. It's anybody that's in the Toyota family
Right.
of race car drivers. There's kids that run GR Cup that go in there and road course stuff. So
It almost sounds like it's a campus.
it kind of is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big locker room and kitchen and yeah, I'd say it's pretty close to that.
So is he under a contract?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not driving a Chevrolet.
Right. Okay. And then how long is that contract?
I see. Now that's a Philip Smalley question.
Gotcha. Okay. That's interesting. Well, what after this year, when you win the championship, right?
That's right.
Because we think positive, right?
That's right. Always.
So what are you gonna do for your parents as a thank you for helping provide you with somebody like Pockets and all the things that you get an opportunity to do? What would you do to thank them?
I'll give back because I really appreciate everything they do and all the sacrifices they make. So, I'll just definitely give a lot back for them because of what they gave for me.
Right?
You take your dad to Beef and Bottle.
Yeah, yeah.
Has your dad not gotten in a race car just for like a couple laps just to see what
Oh,
it's like?
he's gotten like 2 legend car races
Oh,
when I
really?
was running. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I want to run uh, a legend car really bad.
Oh, you'll have the best time.
Yeah, I want
I
to.
promise you, you'll
I'm
have.
I'm tall though. I don't know if I can get into them or not.
It's so much fun.
Going back to the Bluets, what are some of your favorite Bluet stories?
Oh, my favorite ones you can't tell on podcast, but
Well,
just just growing up. I mean, I raced my whole life, quarter midgets, everything, and I didn't have any aspirations to race cup. I just wanted to race the modified tour. And I got to grow up with Jamie Tomeno at his house every day as a kid, and the
legend.
Bluets right down the street. I mean, they're 5 miles from each other, and they were just John. John was a legend to say the least, right? I mean, he has races named after him everywhere, and just being around John and just watching how dedicated he was, and just everything he did to help people, and just he was just a good race car driver, good person. I mean, he did everything, So just being around him and learning from him.
Yeah, I've seen the family at the racetrack quite a bit, just especially like the Bristol races and stuff like
Yep,
that. And seems like just a really fun group to hang out with.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we grew up in a junkyard. Imagine the fun we had in that.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. With their family's been in it for a long time, as have the Myers. They have a lot in common, and I've always I like the way Jimmy races, um, and I really like the way he's helping his kid race too. Like
Yeah, James is
that's really
doing good
cool.
right now. James is actually doing really good. I'm happy to see that. Jimmy just had surgery yesterday. So hopefully he's doing better.
Yeah, well,
With his
best
stomach.
wishes to him from everybody at Citrusafe.
But yeah, no, Jimmy. Jimmy's a funny kid. He's a funny story. I mean, he didn't race nothing until he turned 18 and he got a modified.
Really?
Yeah, and he was just good right off the bat. And he just, how he is. If he's got a good enough car, guess what?
Yeah, oh,
He's
yeah,
probably going to win
yeah.
because you ain't
I
going to
mean,
hold them up. I
you
mean, that's just all there is to
when
it.
he races the Smart Tour, I mean, it's like they regurgitate his name so many times, but it's because it doesn't matter where he qualifies. Like he is a contender.
He's nicknamed Showtime for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. And he's run all over the place.
Yeah, I had George. I introduced George to him, and George met them at Speed Weeks.
I'll tell you, if stuff goes sideways, you want them standing behind you, not in
Yes.
front of you. 100%.
Yeah, you definitely want Jimmy running behind your back
Yes.
for sure.
Yes. So when you were running the modifieds, whose car were you running?
My uncle.
Okay.
And then I ran a little bit for Eddie Partridge when Jimmy drove for him. I do some second car stuff for him, and just my family.
Favorite modified story?
Me, it's got to be So I ended up driving the TS Hauler backup car, and that's so long ago. They used to have happy hour.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
before the race, and
Yeah.
and Donnie Leah we were trying to get under Jimmy's skin, and Donnie said, "Just get right behind me and just follow me." He was like first, and I was third in happy hour, and that's a big deal. 'Cause I wasn't racing all the time, and we were getting ready to go, and we're standing there, and they had the board up because they used to write times down. And then Tony Hirschman's like, "Who's the 72?" The GOAT, 5-time. I'm like, "That's me." He looked me dead in the eyes in front of everybody, and he said, "Hot Pockets?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're living proof. Ron Hutter make a superstar out of anybody." Right in front of everybody. I said, "Well, thanks, Tony.
You got to take it where you can get it, man.
Yeah, absolutely." So that'd probably be my favorite story.
Did you run a modified at Bristol?
No.
That's something that I think takes a special kind of.
Yeah, I won there with Donnie Leah.
Yeah,
Spotting for him.
He was He was awesome to watch.
Yeah, he if I always say at all the people, if I spotted for 100 people, green white checker running third, give me Donnie Leah.
100%.
Yeah, he's Donnie was good.
Didn't he do? Wasn't he like some kind of world remote controlled car champion
Yeah,
or something?
he goes to China
Yeah.
and races RC cars. The things are so fast you can't even see him. I have no idea how he does it, but I've been RC car racing with him.
Like, I mean, it's just, and that's the thing. Like with you drivers, is like it doesn't matter what it is. Y'all are so competitive.
We are.
George wants to competitive in everything. There's a basketball hoop out in front of Five Flags.
Yeah.
Me and
we
this
were
guy are playing horse out there.
Uh-huh.
He's boxing me out for the ball in front of everybody.
Yeah, like taking it personal.
Oh yeah.
We went snow skiing one time. It was me, Bert, mutual friend of ours, Monk, that used to work on Bert's car, and I had snow skied a bit. You know, I was pretty good, but I
Yeah.
wasn't great. And so we get there, and I like to kind of ease into it, like, you know, get my feeling back of the skis and all that stuff. And Bert's like, oh, you know, very top, black diamond, let's go.
Mm.
So, you know, whatever. So we get on the lift and we get up there, and we get off the lift, and you know, I'm cautiously aggressive. Like I like to weigh my options, like what's gonna kill me before I do something.
Yeah.
Dude, he's like, y'all suck. I see y'all at the bottom. And he just disappears, like off the side of the mountain.
I mean, I wouldn't
Gone.
take Bert for a skier, but
Skis never got anything more than straight.
oh god, so he
And
was
I'm sit-
home, he was going.
I'm sitting here looking at Monk, and we're zigzagging all the way down. Like it takes forever. But he did not want anybody else to beat him to the bottom.
That's how George is.
That's right.
And I've noticed like winners all have that. If I cannot lose, I have to maintain my dominance.
You got that right. Even if you like win like so many championships, it's I know a lot of people like rest on it, but like if I'm still doing real good, I'm still gonna go after more.
Still hungry.
Oh yes.
I just y'all are just different, man.
Can't really when you're winning and in your prime, you can't just
There's
really just you still gotta go.
There's three
go for more.
categories of different. Okay, you've got aliens, you've got women, and you've got race car drivers. Okay, so just know you're in one of the three different
Yeah.
blends, right? So, well, man, I really have enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah,
A
I've
lot.
enjoyed.
And
Hey, thank you for having me.
I can't wait to watch your progression and knowing that because we've seen each other at the track before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as soon as you got out of the car, I was like, oh,
Yeah, you know, yep,
he's no
yep.
stranger. Yeah.
Been
So-
around racing for a long time.
Well, you guys have got to get to the stadium, please.
Yeah,
I'm
set
gonna
this
bring
up on
him.
that.
I'm gonna bring him.
I still can't believe I have never been there before.
And the cool thing is you can wear whatever you want. Like nothing is out of style.
Nothing is out of style.
You can wear a tuxedo, or you can show up wearing Daisy Dukes and a cut off tank top. There's somebody there that you will fit in with.
Listen, you guys better be careful what you ask for because there's about 4 races Flores has got to miss. You get George up in them 4. You guys will be looking at that white 79.
Now that would be something.
Yeah, it would.
That would be something.
Sure would.
Golly, you know, as soon as he gets in it, he's gonna.
100%.
He's gonna.
I'll try it. I try it at Speed Weeks. I tried.
Well,
But we gotta focus on what we're doing right now.
maybe if we do an off-season test or something, we can send out an invitation.
Yeah.
If you can convince Bert that you're worthy enough, maybe he'll let you take a spin in one of his cars.
That'd be
Maybe you
yeah,
race
that'd
one of
be
his
great.
cars and you talk to your car owner and he races one of the other ones.
That's right. We can do that.
A little bit of money involved, probably.
Yeah.
That's
little
why
bit.
we got a sponsor like Citrusafe.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, Citrusafe. I don't know. We'll have to talk to the boss man.
He's hard to get a hold of,
He
but we'll
is.
try.
He is. I don't even know what continent he's on right now. World traveler that he is. But no, guys, I really appreciate y'all being here. I hope that this isn't the last time y'all are here throughout the season. You know, let's get you back, especially
let's do
when
it.
Bert's here.
Yes.
We had to give Bert a little bit of grace. He had some prior engagements that he had to attend to.
Yeah.
But for me, selfishly, I'm glad that I got to meet you guys. You know, the history that you've got just in so many different levels, all the different people you've worked with, and especially being a modified guy, you know, and then, you know, George, watching somebody that you can actually cheer for, as opposed to, oh yeah, I see them on TV, I like them. Like cheering for you.
Yeah.
That makes me want to tune in even more. So.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Well, it's what we do at Citrusafe, and
That's right.
we're glad to have you as part of the family.
I'm glad to be a part of it too.
But everybody, I appreciate you all tuning in again. Um, you can get all of George's swag on racefangear.com. Also, slates, Burt's, Citrusafe gear. Make sure and follow George's social media. What do you? I'm sure you're on everything.
Yeah, Instagram. I'm on everything.
Okay.
What is it? It's what
George Phillips Racing.
George Phillips
at
Racing.
George Phillips Racing, Facebook
Okay.
and Instagram and all that.
And I'm sure I'll get some private messages asking.
What's your you have a website also? What's your?
It's George Phillips Racing. You just look that up and then you'll find
Okay.
it.
Well, then I think I'll give you a link to racefangear.com also on his
Okay.
website. So
Now I've gotten 3 messages to my phone. People asking, I don't know who they are. I know they're all females wanting to know. They all ask the same thing. Are you single?
Oh my goodness. Am I?
Are you?
Yes, currently right now. Yeah.
Ladies, you heard it here. He's single.
you're supposed to say you plead the fifth. You don't know. I do want to before we go, I just want to give a shout out to the Scott Riggleman and Carol Riggleman and the girls. We lost my good buddy who was a spotter in the Northeast, and they talked about him during the Cars Tour race. And my buddy Timmy Riggleman, he grew up with the Blewitts, and spotting for John was his best friend, and he's actually the one that got me into spotting.
Is that right?
And we lost him on Saturday, so
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
just keep them in your prayers.
Absolutely, 100%. That goes without saying. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for the Orange Bumper podcast this week. Next week, we're working on, and I'm pretty sure we have Danny Bone secured to come on.
I grew up with him too.
Well, he's a Wall Stadium guy.
I mean, his brother Mike's one of my best friends.
Yeah, that's a funny family to be around, to say the least. But yeah, make sure and check us out. Racefangear.com for all your swag. Make sure and give us a like. Let us know where you're watching from. Check George out. Make sure and follow George. And I think he told me beforehand when he wins his first ASA race, he's going to thank Philip Dixon on the microphone. So keep an eye out for that. I really appreciate that, George. That was good of you. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. But until next week, thank you all for watching.